Keep your head up, you'll be okay. A beautiful day waiting for you. Just open your eyes, you'll see it's true.
Hello and happy Monday, everyone. Jamie Marco here with When She Happens, That's What She Said. So excited to be back with you. Last week we took the week off for Labor Day and hope that you all had a wonderful long weekend. It's kind of a weird time to have a long weekend when you've had a lot of time home anyway. So hopefully you all found some time to enjoy. Today we are pumped to be back and excited to be speaking with one of our members who's been part of When She Happens from almost the beginning, who is not only a member but a close friend to all of us and really has a great story to tell about what she's doing in the community to help children that are suffering from different things, from evaluations to physical therapy to regular therapy to schooling. So please join me in welcoming to our stream, Kristen Theisen. Hi, Kristen.
Hi, thank you so much for having me.
Of course, long time no see.
Yes. In the pandemic, yes.
I know. Well, it's so good to have you on today. And again, thanks for joining us today. So today we want to spend the next 15 minutes focusing on you and the Florida Center for Early Childhood. So go ahead and just tell us a little bit about what you do in your organization, please.
Okay, well, I am the Chief Development Officer for the Florida Center. So I oversee all the fundraising and marketing and really help to provide more awareness in the community and help people to understand why they should support our organization and how their support is impacting children and families. So the Florida Center is kind of a little known organization, but we actually provide services throughout the region and even the state. So we cover all things early childhood, from developmental delays or disabilities to things like fetal alcohol spectrum disorder, which we're going to talk about a little bit more today, to language or occupational therapy. So a wide variety of things. And of course, mental health, which is something that is really on the forefront of a lot of people's minds these days, and rightly so.
Yeah, it's amazing. I did a tour of the center. It feels like that was forever ago.
Yes.
But it's so incredible. And I know recently there was a project that was done there by Leadership Sarasota that I want to get into and talk about as well too. But before we do, you guys provided a great video to us to share with people to really elaborate on what you just told us. Are we ready to watch the video?
Let's do it.
All right.
Imagine a community where every child is loved, nurtured, and encouraged to reach their full potential. The Florida Center for Early Childhood is creating that community, one family at a time, with therapeutic services, early education, and other programs that ensure healthy development.
So incredible. I love my tour there. And so I gave a little teaser and a little shout out for Leadership Sarasota. Tell me what's happened over the last 6 months there that's enhanced your campus.
Oh my gosh. So they chose the Florida Center for Early Childhood as their charitable cause that they do a project for, which is something that the group does every year with every class. And they designed the most amazing sensory garden for the children and families that either go to school here, preschool, or come for therapies. It's just so amazing. It's got all these different features from senses, from touch and smell and sight, and it's just colorful, and the children love it. We're so excited for it to be fully open, which is going to be happening later this month.
Oh, so that's so great. So what are you doing for a grand opening? Obviously, we want to make sure that we're all physically distancing. I changed it from social distancing, but physically distancing. So how people know when it's open and what's the grand opening look like?
Well, Leadership Sarasota is really the lead on this project and promoting it. But I believe on September 30th, they're going to be doing a ribbon cutting of sorts, small scale, socially distanced. But I know they are planning to have some people and online showcasing of this. I think there's going to be a drone involved, so everyone will be able to see, even from home or wherever they are, the beautiful space that they've created for our kids.
That's amazing. You mentioned, Kristen, earlier that the kids that are coming to the Florida Center are getting different opportunities, whether it be to go to school there, whether it be therapy, and whether it be an evaluation, correct? Am I getting
Yes.
that right? Okay.
Yes. Mm-hmm.
And I would imagine that a lot of that that those first steps would be the evaluation process. Is that right?
Mm-hmm. Yes. Evaluations and assessments to see if there is an underlying issue that therapy or some other kind of intervention can help with.
That's incredible. And is the service free to families? Do they pay for it? How does that work?
There's a whole range of a scale of how the services are paid for. We do accept insurance. We do accept Medicaid. We have some private pay. And then for some of our programs, there is no fee. For example, we have therapists, mental health therapists in 25 elementary schools in the county working with the school district and school-aged children, young children. And that's totally free. And then we have our fetal alcohol spectrum disorders clinic, which also is free through the state. We do have some private pay opportunities because unfortunately there's never enough funding and we have a waiting list, a pretty significant list, but we do offer that as a private pay as well.
That's so amazing. As parents, I know you've got two little ones, they're kind of bigger now, but I've got a little one, and there's so many things you've got to worry about all the time to make sure that you're providing the best opportunities for your children. And what I'd like to do now is that we're so gracious to be able to have a next special guest who has actually utilized your services, and I'd love to hear from her. So please join us in welcoming Jen Worden to the show. Hi, Jen.
Hi.
Thank you so much for being on again. So Jen, you and I had a chance to chat a little bit prior to us going live. Help us understand, how you found the Florida Center for Early Childhood and how it's helped your family.
So I was pointed in the direction by a friend of mine who works in child welfare to start looking into some concerns that I had with my little guy in reference to the alcohol exposure he had while his biological mom was pregnant with him. It really hadn't been something that had been brought up by any of our previous providers. So this mama was on a mission, and I went home that evening, started Googling, and I was lucky to find the Florida Center because they are the only diagnostic clinic for fetal alcohol spectrum disorder in the state of Florida.
Wow. So what did that process look like for you? So first of all, you go mama, because it is, you have to be an advocate for your child. And I think that mommy instinct, whether it's an adopted child, your own child, you have that, right? And so you knew that you needed to get some help. Let me back up a little bit. What were some of the signs that you saw that knew that you had to find something that was going on?
So for my little guy, he had some really big behaviors. And I was transitioning to being a stay-at-home mom at the time. So I kind of thought that some of that might have been as a result of my transition. And then I would ask my husband or my mom or others and be like, I kind of think this is more than just a three-nager here. What are your thoughts? And then when I had that same conversation describing some of his symptoms to the friend of mine, she says, yeah, no, I really think that all of those factors put together really point me in the direction of this maybe being something related to fetal alcohol syndrome. And I really hadn't gotten much education on it. I really didn't know where to look or what to start with. So that's where we started with Google. And, when you start looking at some of the symptoms that show up with the big behaviors or not acting their age, dysmaturity is a big thing for these kids, memory problems. All of these little characteristics I was able to put check boxes next to and say, oh yeah, that's him. So it was definitely a direction that I knew we needed to look into. And so I reached out to the director through the phone number that was on their website, and we had an amazing conversation. I felt very validated. I felt very heard. And then we started working on the paperwork and the process to get an intake appointment and an evaluation schedule.
That's amazing. So how old was this when this started happening? And I think your son's name's Jay, is that right?
His name is Jay. Yep.
How old was Jay when this all started?
So he had turned 5 last August, and it was in September that I had this conversation. And then we knew we needed some support services in place sooner rather than later. So we chose the self-pay option to go ahead and get the opportunity to get his evaluation done a little bit sooner. And so by November, we were able to visit the clinic and kind of get pointed in some good directions and give us some information and insight on what we were dealing with.
That's great. It seems like that happened pretty quickly, actually. So it's a great turnaround there.
For sure.
So Kristen, knowing that, now we're in the middle of a pandemic still, what are you guys doing differently for those evaluations, if anything, to accommodate families with this that might be experiencing this? And also, before you do that, what's the phone number? I know Jen had mentioned there's the phone number that she called. What is the phone number for people to call if they think that they might need to get an evaluation?
Sure. It's 941-371-8820.
Okay, perfect.
And that's our main line, and that's where people can, explain what they're looking for when they call, and they'll be directed to the director of our clinic.
Got it. So help us understand, if someone thinks that their child possibly may have experienced this during, when they're being born, or sorry, I'm giving the proper term here. What can they do, or now has anything changed for those evaluations based on what's happening in our current economy?
Yes. Well, of course, once the pandemic hit and everything was shut down, we were able to switch pretty quickly to doing virtual consultations and even evaluations. I mean, thank goodness for technology, but it's really allowed us to continue to provide the services and even expand our reach. So we can have sessions where we can watch, just the child interact and see their engagement and see their physical development, what stages they're at, and all sorts of different things. And I just want to mention that the clinic is kind of, it's hard to understand until you've seen it, but it's really a group of professionals that come together in a team type of atmosphere, so they can really put their, all heads together and come up with a good diagnosis. And I'm sure Jen can kind of explain a little bit of that too.
Yeah, it's really a great experience because being able to have those providers all in the same area and being able to partner together and come up with a multidisciplinary evaluation for us was super helpful. We already knew Jay had some speech issues. So speech is one of the areas that they're able to look into. They have an occupational therapist that gets involved. There's a social worker and a neuropsychologist, and all of those pieces go in together and give you a really good overview of just what exactly you might be looking at. Because if you know one person with FASD, you know that one person with FASD, because everybody's affected differently. It is a spectrum, and it's just super valuable to be able to have each of those teams come in and be able to put in their own specific pieces together. It makes a big difference, and it makes it a lot easier on the client, so that we're not having to go to 7 or 4 different options and have 4 separate appointments. It is a get it done and help get some resources for families. Because even with me, I don't live in the Sarasota area. In fact, I live up in Bay County, but I've been able to utilize the support group and the Facebook group. And, the pandemic has been helpful for us. And I know that's not the case for everybody, but in terms of our support that we've been able to get from the Florida Center, I'm thankful for it. I'm thankful that everything has been able to transition.
It's amazing, and we're so grateful. I don't know if you noticed, but I just changed the color of the screen to the color of this month. And for those that don't know, there was a behind-the-scenes wardrobe change. No, but so red. I'm wearing red. You're wearing red. Kristen, I'm sure, has got some red on somewhere of the black and white. I love it as well. So what is with the color red this month?
So one of the adult advocates who is on the FASD spectrum came up with a slogan, "Red Shoes Rocks." And that's kind of one of the mottos that FASD has kind of moved forward with. So International Fetal Alcohol Spectrum Disorder Day was on September 9th. And we were flooding any type of media source we could get to help raise awareness. We've got lots of mama warriors that are working to just let everybody know it is oftentimes invisible disability, because only about 10% of the individuals affected with fetal alcohol have the facial features. So a lot of times it goes undiagnosed, misdiagnosed, and just misunderstood. So our red is our way to to grab the attention and let everybody know we're here. And we are helping to just spread the word that individuals with FASD could use our support.
And thank you for sharing that. So speaking of support and speaking of thinking of ways that we can support the Florida Center for Early Childhood, Kristen, you guys have kicked off this really incredibly creative new way to get people involved, bring awareness, and raise money all at the same time. So share with us a little bit what's happening between now and I believe it's the end of the year, close to the end of the year.
Yes. So our goal is to raise $100,000 through a variety of channels, but we thought that we would really bring some attention to it with our challenge called Achieve 100. And really what that is instead of doing, you know, a walk or a run or a bike kind of event, we thought, why don't we just invite people to do 100 of whatever they want to, whatever they feel like is going to challenge them. So whether that's 100 minutes of meditation or 100 sit-ups in a certain period of time, it's whatever you can do within 100 days or less. And we've got some really great original campaigns, and Jen is part of a group that is working to do something special for FASD. I don't know if you want to share that, Jen.
So I mentioned our Mama Warriors. We've kind of put together a team called the FASD Fighters, and collectively we are kind of working on our own goals, and then we're also working on a team goal to introduce and talk to organizations about fetal alcohol spectrum disorder, to do 100 organizations within 100 days. And then I have my own personal goal of walking 100 miles within those 100 days. So we're just trying to do whatever we can to be part of that team and to get the word out, because that's what it takes. The more awareness we can get, the better we can help support the Florida Center and then help those clients that need the ongoing support and evaluations.
I love that. So in order to participate, they just have to go to achieve100.fun. Is that correct?
Yes, achieve100.fun, and they can either start their own challenge and start their own page through the Just Giving website. That's part of the website we just gave you, or they can tag onto someone else's challenge, and you can see a variety of different ideas and things to do to challenge yourself and bring awareness, like Jen said.
Got it. So what is the last date that we have until do this? What's the 100 days, the last date to do it until?
Well, we are running this through the end of the year, but on December 4th, we are going to be having our annual event, our annual benefit, which is going to be virtual this year. But we're hoping to highlight some of our most creative or successful or inspiring campaigns from the Achieve 100 Challenge. So if you can come up with something fun and document yourself along the way by December 4th, we'd be happy to feature some of these challenges online.
I love it. Well, we are going to throw the gauntlet down here, and we are challenging everyone that is watching, for every one of our When She Happens members that goes to achieve100.fun and registers and participates in your event. Once you do that and go to Facebook and tag us, where you would say tag When She Happens, and then is there a hashtag you want them to use, Kristen? Any hashtag?
Achieve 100.
Right, hashtag Achieve100, hashtag When She Happens. For every member that does that and actually participates in this, we will donate $25 to the Florida Center. For every one of our members that goes on there and does the Achieve100.fun. So all you have to do is go on there, members, participate, tag When She Happens, tag Achieve100. We will see on December 3rd how many of our members participated. Kristen, you and I will talk about that. And for every member that participated, we'll donate $25 right back to the Florida Center. How does that sound?
That is so incredible. Thank you so much.
It is our pleasure. So our goal is to have at least 4, so you'll get $100 right there. And then for everything on top of that, because we want, really, the reason we do these live casts is to help bring awareness not only to our members, but to what you guys are doing in our communities. And what's really great about it now is that you're reaching somebody like Jen, who doesn't even live locally, but understands the benefits of the Florida Center for Early Childhood and understands what you guys do, and you've tremendously helped her. So, Kristen, on behalf of When She Happens, Kara and myself and the rest of our members, thank you for joining us this afternoon, whatever time it is, today, and sharing with us about that. Thanks for being a member. Jen, thank you so much for coming on and sharing your story. I'm sure it's been a challenge that you've had, but you are a mama warrior, and we love hearing that, how you are succeeding and just being an advocate for your child. Any final statements? We've gone over because I couldn't stop you guys. But any final statements that you want everyone that's watching to know?
For me, it would just be, if you have a concern and you know that a kiddo might have been exposed to alcohol, don't be afraid to reach out for the help at the Florida Center, because it really is a valuable tool. And that's where I can speak to directly, is the FASD clinic. They're fantastic. They're amazing. I may not live there, but I feel like family.
Well, we just appreciate the opportunity to spread the word, and thank you, Jamie, for having us so much.
Our pleasure. Kara wishes she could be here, but she couldn't. So I'm sure she is watching from wherever she is and saying hello. Kara's the co-founder, for anyone who's watching and doesn't know. But thank you so much. Everyone, thank you so much. We've had quite a few views today. Make comments, they're messaging. If you want to actually reach out and connect with the Florida Center yourself, if you think that possibly someone you know could be suffering from fetal alcohol syndrome or any other needs that they might have at the Florida Center, give them a call. They're there waiting and ready to help you, either via the internet or on a phone call or FaceTime or a Zoom, whatever it might be. Thank you both so much again. Go ahead and stay on for a minute. I'm going to end the live chat, but we'll chat behind the scenes in our back door or our whatever green room. Thank you everyone else for watching, and until next time, that's what she said.